Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We may call it paradise, but our beloved millennials call it out of here. Why does the Suncoast hemorrhage its best and brightest young professionals to parts unknown? Actually, it's not parts unknown. It's called New York, Seattle. It's called elsewhere. Tonight, we look at why millennials are leaving and why they should stay. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. So much for School Spirit Week. It's designed to bring students together, but it's doing just the opposite at Manatee High School. There is an increased police presence at the school following 2 days of tension between students. It began yesterday when the student brought a Confederate flag to the school as part of National Pride Day. After complaints from some students, the flag was turned over to the principal. The incident sparked a social media firestorm and a Black Lives Matter protest today.
Students have freedom of expression, but if their freedom of expression causes a disruption to the school and its ability to perform its function, then the principal has the right to step in.
And they had Confederate flags with Trump 2016 on it, and a bunch of kids just felt that was disrespectful, and then the same kids were running around, saying racial slurs.
Manatee High's principal sent an automated message to parents informing them about what happened. The principal says the school is taking steps to make sure everything remains peaceful. A Sarasota woman is behind bars tonight for alleged animal abuse after her border collie was discovered emaciated. The dog's name is Richter, and when he was adopted 6 months ago, he was 25 pounds. He now weighs half of that he did just 2 months ago. Sheriff's deputies say they discovered the animal's condition on September 13th when the owner, Alexandria Drew, returned him to the shelter. Drew says the dog was a stray, but after checking the dog's microchip, officials knew otherwise.
I actually saw the dog that day, and it was emaciated. It looked just skeletal. You could see the shoulders, the ribs. The dog looked like it had not eaten in a month or so, if not longer. It was in bad shape.
Officials say Richter should make a full recovery. Drew is charged with multiple misdemeanors. Now on to the latest contamination about a major aquifer because of a massive sinkhole at a fertilizer plant. A spokesperson for Mosaic says the tests at 9 wells near the sinkhole shows the water is safe to drink. The sinkhole opened in late August at a Mosaic facility in Polk County. More than 200 million gallons of tainted water drained into an aquifer, providing millions of water to residents. Mosaic says recent tests by an independent lab shows the water meets state and federal standards. Meanwhile, water quality concerns continue in Northport after a tanker crash on Friday resulted in leaking fuel spilling into nearby creeks. A local water treatment facility had to be shut down to protect Northport's drinking water. City officials say all tests are now complete and show there are no contaminants at the treatment plant. Despite the results, the city plans to continue using water from other sources for the time being.
The only test result we've gotten back from the plant came back negative for fuel in the water, so that's a very good sign.
The city and the DEP continue to monitor the water. We'll keep you updated on the situation. A new Suncoast Technical College campus is breaking ground in Northport. The Educational Center will offer a variety of programs for students and adults, from culinary arts to carpentry. The new building will also be paired with a conference center and public library. The new campus costs $23 million.
Northport is our largest city, but our technical college didn't have a presence there. So it really was an easy argument to make when you just purely looked at geography and demographics.
Construction is scheduled to be completed in the fall of 2017. The Ringling Brothers Circus and its parent company, Feld Entertainment, are facing new allegations from PETA. The animal rights organization is alleging abuse of big cats used in circus shows. A report from a wildlife consultant accuses the company of neglecting its animals. Feld Entertainment says the consultant is basing his allegations on PETA's predetermined goals.
Really, this is a report full of wild allegations that were made by an individual who never actually examined any of our cats.
Is calling on Feld Entertainment to end all acts involving animals. Feld says it follows all local, state, and federal animal welfare regulations. As we have been reporting, red tide has been lurking off the Suncoast for days, and now beachgoers are being told not to swim at several beaches in Sarasota County. A no-swim advisory is being issued for beaches on Longboat Key, Siesta Turtle, Nokomis, and North Jetty beaches. Sarasota County health officials say the amount of harmful bacteria found in water yesterday was outside acceptable limits. The beaches are still open, but visitors are urged not to wade, swim, or do any water activities. And health officials also say you should not eat shellfish collected at those areas. And Bob, we're hearing the rumble of thunder once again.
Yeah, today some big storms again firing up as a result of a trough of low pressure, which has pretty much parked itself right across north central Florida. And we're getting this onshore flow, which brings the chance anyway for scattered storms. And that's what we're seeing this afternoon. Some of that rain, heavy at times, and the most dangerous aspect of it has been the lightning strikes that have been occurring. Now, there's another area developing just offshore of Anna Maria with quite a few lightning strikes there. That is pushing off to the east at around 10 miles an hour. You see that. So another line and run of showers will move through northwest Bradenton, also all the way down into the north end of Longboat Key, and then some rain just near, looks like Stickney Point, I-75, moving toward Lake Sarasota. Still some rain at US 41 near Stickney Point, but for the most part, that is just rain. The lightning has moved on, and you can see that lightning strikes occasionally near Parrish, but more importantly, that line moving in toward Anna Maria will bring some moderate to heavy rainfall there over the next half hour or so. As I mentioned, Parrish getting some rain along I-275 too, some showers. And then look at that, still more storms developing in the Gulf as some energy kind of rotates around an area of low pressure. We're going to be talking more about Matthew here as it looks healthier on the satellite imagery over the past 12 hours. We're starting to see some deep convection developing near the center at the surface. It had been developing near the mid-levels of the center, but now we're starting to see that right at the surface. So this one looks like it's on its way to becoming a fairly strong hurricane before long. We'll have more on the forecast path and track of this storm and let you know some of the scenarios that will be played out early next week. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, millennials on the Suncoast. Is the Suncoast welcoming to millennials? We'll hear the pros and cons of being younger in the Suncoast when we come back.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
The moment we've all been waiting for is here. I'm Stephanie Roberts. On Suncoast View, we reveal the results of our guide dog naming contest. Southeastern Guide Dogs is here to show us our puppy's pick, plus give last-minute advice before we bring them home. We'll preview Eat Like a Local Restaurant Week, plus Florida Studio Theater's new season, and Philippi Creek Oyster Bar is in the kitchen.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
At SWC Properties, we pride ourselves in providing to you the very best in customer satisfaction, and the secret's getting out. Maybe that's why so many people have chosen to list their homes with our friendly and qualified agents. After all, it only makes sense to list with a growing agency that markets in so many places. To list your home with SWC, give us a call at our Bradenton office and ask for Matthew Rands.
Hurricane season is here, and Suncoast weather can go from this to this in seconds. So when severe weather threatens, count on the official Suncoast Storm Team at ABC7.
We're armed with the most advanced weather technology so that we can bring you storm warnings faster and with more detail than ever before.
Plus, we focus on the Suncoast and track storms right down to your neighborhood.
On air, online, and on your mobile device. Turn to the official Suncoast Storm Team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Hello, I'm Whitney Stewart, the current National Boys and Girls Club's Youth of the Year.
And I'm Haley Wilkes, news anchor for ABC7. Please join us for the Women in a Changing World panel discussion. You will hear from a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, senior vice presidents from Disney and Tupperware, a New York Times senior writer, and an Alaskan Native poet.
For more information, please visit womeninachangingworld.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community. ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
We've got lots of sun and the best beaches in America, if not the world. You'd think that if you're young and hip like Kate here, you'd be sticking around for the long haul. The Suncoast is a great place to grow up, but all too often, as Kate Flexer tells us, once millennials get their degrees, they get out of here. Kate?
Well, Alan, over the last decade, we've seen Sarasota become a more millennial-friendly place. But as some local millennials tell us, there are a few things keeping the area from reaching its full potential.
Millennial. It's one of those buzzwords we use to describe people of a certain age, in the grand tradition of baby boomers and Generation X. But what does being a millennial even mean? Headlines call millennials rebellious and yet conservative, the least skilled and yet overqualified for their jobs. So which one is it? Well, here are some facts. Pew Research defines millennials as ages 19 to 35. That's a group that came of age in the new millennium and grew up with technology and social media. They also make up the majority of America's workforce. Lauren Huey is part of that majority, starting a new job in Sarasota. She lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and most recently, San Francisco. So Sarasota was a big change.
When my boyfriend and I would walk into a restaurant, we would lower the average age there quite a bit during season. But then I found all these really interesting people and just slowly but surely have started collecting millennials my own age to be my friends.
She was also struck by how expensive housing is for young people.
If you want people, young people especially, to move in, you have to give them a place where they can afford. I mean, San Francisco is ridiculous, and you have to have 5 roommates, but you also wind up with this huge city that has a lot to offer.
But what surprised her was how millennial-friendly Sarasota really is, a unique combination of small-town living paired with the culture of a big city. Plus, she says there's real value in the town's older residents.
You have all of these people who are retirees, and they move down, and they're willing to invest in young people and to mentor them. And so if you are starting a new business, you can have the CEO of some giant company come and show you how to do it, or somebody who has been in marketing for 30 years or 40 years step up and help you.
But millennial Nailani Simpson says she feels a bit differently about the community.
You're really fighting to really, advocate for change, and a lot of people here are so stagnant and they aren't really open to hearing these ideas and moving toward a more progressive way.
Something she says carries over into the workplace.
More employers are willing to have younger people in higher executive positions, where here in Sarasota they really put us at entry-level positions. They want us to really earn our trust, which is absolutely understandable. But at the same time, we really want to get these people in higher positions so they can start doing really amazing things.
Simpson grew up in Sarasota and has seen some real positive changes, like more nightlife and culture. But she says the lack of opportunities for young people keeps Sarasota from attracting more millennials.
And I think if people here are willing to give millennials more opportunity, you would see more of us staying and less of us leaving.
Sarasota County Planner Elma Felix, who, full disclosure, is a millennial herself, says attracting and retaining millennials is a real concern.
If you go sit to eat or you go to the movies, you could definitely tell this dynamic in age range.
A large part of that, she says, comes down to the cost of living.
And affordable housing is one of the biggest issues. I mean, if you can't afford to live somewhere, then why are you gonna move there?
Plus, she says it has to do with the way the county has been marketed over the years.
Sarasota County has presented and sold itself as a retirement community, and that's a great thing that, folks want to come and spend their days here and enjoy beautiful weather and the beaches here, and that's great. But I think the other side of the story is not being told about what a great place Sarasota County is for young families and for people that are graduating college.
Felix says that youthful millennial energy is a crucial part of any community, the risk takers, the innovators, and the future.
As soon as we start to pull the puzzle pieces or recognize the puzzle pieces so we can start putting them together, I think the outcome is definitely going to start changing.
Sarasota County says it's continuing to consider different ways to make this area appealing to millennials.
Kate, thank you. And when we come back, our roundtable.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Vargas.
And I'm Don Brennan. According to the CDC, a growing number of people are undergoing knee replacement surgery.
Tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast, we'll show you why people are choosing to get the surgery earlier in life. John?
We continue to monitor the tropics as we wait for a very important turn in direction from Matthew. We'll update you.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Joining us for more on the issues facing millennials here on the Suncoast is entrepreneur Tony Marchuk, the CEO of 22 Marketing House, Raymar Tirado, founder of Sarasota Underground, an online publication that gives voice to millennial residents, and Shannon Fortner, president of the Harvey Milk Festival. She also organizes Ringling Underground. Thanks for being here. Keep on. What is with all this underground stuff? I mean, we don't have basements.
It's just a growing community of people that feel like there's just a movement of, I guess you could say, millennials trying to establish their place and claim a spot in Sarasota. And so, yeah, I think it's just part of the momentum.
There were a couple of different angles to Kate's story. One is the affordability of the area. The other, it seems to me, is there enough socially for millennials around here? And then there are issues in terms of the greater community. I want to get to all of those issues, but first, why don't we start with the affordability of the issue? You know, what was interesting in Kate's story is she interviewed a young woman who used to live in San Francisco, which is, I mean, if we think that Sarasota is unaffordable, I mean, I have family in San Francisco. I've known it for years. I mean, so, but you know, San Francisco seems to be a mecca for young people. Then why is Sarasota such an obstacle in terms of affordability?
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, the nightlife. Like, it's got to have a lot more to, I mean, to inspire young people, to like bring them together, you know, have.
Back to the affordability. I think San Francisco is a very young, progressive, hip city, right? And so it has to do from the underlying culture, whereas Sarasota is more of a retirement. It's been, the average age, I think, is like 53 in this town, and so you just have kind of a different culture that affects politics, that affects the decisions that are made, that kind of affects the whole gamut.
I want to get to all those things, but why don't we start with what you're talking about? Is are you saying because San Francisco has so much more to offer, young people would be more willing to have 5 different roommates than...
They're willing to make more sacrifices to be there.
Right.
Yes, it's true. If they had things to do, a nightlife and events to attend and be a part of a community, I think they're willing to make that sacrifice to have 5 roommates, per se.
So, Kate also interviewed the young woman who was born and raised here, and generally in our area, not just Sarasota, but also the greater Tampa Bay area, it's long been talked about that young people, they get through high school, they get their college degrees, and they are out of here. Yeah. So on a larger level, do you see any efforts from our community or our government to try to attract young people to stay here and build the community that you're seeking?
I think we're finally starting to see some of that, but the truth is that young people want to move away from where they grew up from, no matter where they are, right? So no matter where you go to, if you find somebody who grew up and lived in a town, there's part of that mentality that says, I just want to go, I want to get away from my family, I want to get away from everything I know, I want to experience something new. And so that's a pretty common thing, and so that's never going to leave as far as a reason for people to want to go. But I think we're just finally starting to see the conversation shift to a point where we're talking about some of the real issues, the affordability, the nightlife, the kind of culture in general that is really at the base of this issue.
Well, when I think about it, I mean, we're known here on the Suncoast for the incredible beaches and the climate. So why wouldn't Sarasota be a mecca to young people who want to enjoy the outside life and create the nightlife that you're talking about? I mean, you're all entrepreneurs in different ways. Where are the young people who are starting clubs and restaurants and so forth to cater to your generation?
Yeah. I think it's nice. I just want to say, I think it's nice to have something like Sarasota Underground that lets me feel like I can actually make an impact, because like without it, I wouldn't like know what's going on, or feel like I could actually make a change.
Right, right. We're just scratching the surface. So why don't we just take a quick break, because there's so much more to discuss. When we come back, we'll have your complete Suncoast weather forecast.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
It's time to upgrade your favorite news app. Now, ABC7's My Suncoast News app is better than ever with a dynamic brand new design that's faster and easier to use. Stay connected anytime, anywhere with breaking news and weather alerts, video on demand, and live streaming of your Suncoast News. Download our free My Suncoast News app on your mobile device at your app store. ABC7's all-new My Suncoast News app. Just another way we're here for you. Powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better reader.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here.
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm gonna show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch the Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
If you want 24/7 access to ABC7's breaking news stories, weather forecasts, traffic alerts, health reports, dining segments, local events, Suncoast View, and more ABC7 specialty programming, now there's good news. Introducing the free ABC7 channel on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Your 24/7 access to ABC7. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device and download your free ABC7 app now.
Our roundtable discussion continues in just a moment, but first, here's a look at your weather with ABC7 Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. I'll tell you what, the clouds have been coming in and storms continue to build in the Gulf of Mexico. This pattern that we're in is going to stick around tonight, so you may hear some rumble of thunder trying to get to sleep as a result of this trough of low pressure to the north, southwest wind. This is just what is happening today. Tower cam right around 4:30. We start to see that storm rolling in. Boy, it came heavy too. at times bringing some lightning strikes, dangerous lightning. And you can see quite a bit of activity all out here in the eastern Gulf of Mexico right now. And all this pushing in our general direction is associated with, as I said, southwest wind, lots of moisture, a little instability in the atmosphere, kind of rotating around a trough of low pressure. Just notice how everything kind of fills in right here just in the last half hour. And it all is training right across Manatee County and North Sarasota. Although down south, we haven't had much there as of late. There'll be some storms, though, developing. You can see that quite clearly about 60 miles offshore. There's the heavy rain now near Anna Maria, approaching northwest Bradenton, all the way to the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. We've had some rain around the Gulf Gate area, along US 41 south of Clark Road and Stickney Point. Some showers there. Elsewhere, activity along Heritage Harbor and Heritage Oaks, some rain falling there. And there's a big storm still developing about 150 miles offshore of the Suncoast. So that's all moving northeast. So expect periodic showers and storms overnight. Right now it's cloudy. The good thing is it's cooled down a little bit with these clouds around and showers. It's cooling things down after a high today of 89 degrees. And as far as temperatures go, you'll notice that they have chilled out a bit in Bradenton, Cortez, Sarasota. Still in the 80s in Venice, Northport, Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, and Inglewood. And 77 now in Sebring. Lows tonight will be in the low 70s inland and into the mid to upper 70s right near the coast. Because of that west wind, water temperatures now in the upper 80s always makes it feel a little bit warmer as opposed to that east wind that we like to see that moves in. Well, that trough is still hanging there. A lot of dry air to the north and cooler too, but it's not going to move in. And speaking about moving in, this one's moving west, and this is Matthew. It's the 5th hurricane of the season, and it looks now like it could be the strongest hurricane of the season before long. Right now, it's being sheared apart a little bit. There's some strong winds that come off the coast of South America, and this is typical. And once it gets past that a little bit, there's a chance it could develop into a Category 2 hurricane in time. There's the forecast path, and the Hurricane Center wants to make sure that everyone knows that day 4 and day 5, there's a lot of uncertainty. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be right here or right there. It could be even outside this cone of uncertainty because computer models are all over the place when it comes to predicting what this is going to do because of the high pressure that's driving it. May weaken, may actually get stronger in time, and that will determine whether Florida will have an impact from the system. Right now, the boating forecast looks to be pretty good for Friday. We'll see some scattered storms around, and the extended forecast shapes up like this. We'll have more, by the way, on Matthew coming up a little bit later. But Sunday and Monday, right now, looks like could be the heaviest rain as a result of it. That is subject to change, though, down the road. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, I'm Whitney Stewart, the current National Boys and Girls Club's Youth of the Year.
And I'm Haley Wilkes, news anchor for ABC 7. Please join us for the Women in a Changing World panel discussion. You will hear from a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, senior vice presidents from Disney and Tupperware, a New York Times senior writer, and an Alaskan Native poet.
For more information, please visit womeninaChangingWorld.com.
On Animal Outtakes, every week, it's a new animal adventure. From meeting curious lemurs to feeding big cats and hosing down rhinos, there's never a dull moment. And sometimes these amazing animals chime in. Tune in to Animal Outtakes to find out what they have to say. Watch Animal Outtakes this weekend on ABC 7.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
This is a special health alert for seniors suffering with joint pain. If you have Medicare insurance, you may qualify for high-quality support braces at little or no cost.
I'm thrilled with my knee braces.
Now, there is a simple and proven solution for seniors to get out of pain with state-of-the-art support braces.
I barely feel any pain at all.
Braces for your knees and back, as well as your shoulders and ankles, too.
I'm so happy with the quality of these braces.
Call now, and you could qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost.
I can play ball again, and it doesn't hurt.
And because of my Medicare coverage, it costs me next to nothing.
So call now.
And Because I have this red, white, and blue Medicare card, my braces have cost me just about nothing.
It's true. You may get a knee, back, shoulder, and ankle brace at little or no cost.
They qualified me for 2 knee braces and a back brace.
If you have knee or back pain, give them a call. They can help.
1-800-476-8967. 1-800-476-8967.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're discussing ways to keep millennial residents right here on the Suncoast, and our guests tonight include Tony Marchuk, the CEO of 22 Marketing House, Raymar Tirado, the founder of the Sarasota Underground, and Shannon Fortner, president of the Harvey Milk Festival. She also organizes Ringling Underground. Tony, let me start with you because you own a high-tech company. What are the obstacles in terms of hiring millennials and getting them to stay here?
Yeah, it's rough. It's hard to find like local talent that's in the tech field. There's a lot of creatives, you know, because of Ringling and all that stuff. But actual, more tech-minded, it's tough. And I don't think we give them a reason to come here. Like Austin, for example, it's hot.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, exactly. It's hot and it's humid, but they have like a music scene and they have tech conferences and all this stuff.
Well, you got here somehow.
Yeah.
Why? How?
Well, I'm actually from Portland, which is a great city, but I left Portland because it's an old pond and I wanted something new. And I love the sunshine.
There's all saying in the television industry is that in Florida they pay you in sunshine.
Yeah.
So I mean,
crap.
Yes, but I mean, if you're trying to attract young people to live in a place where, I mean, if you're an outdoors person and you like the beach, I mean, is there any kind of coordinated marketing campaign to get young people to move here to work in businesses like yours?
There's really, honestly, not that much to do outdoors here compared to other places. I mean, there's the beach and there's Mayaca. I mean, there's not really any hiking. There's no mountains, lakes, that kind of thing.
So you came here just to try something different?
Yeah, exactly. I landed here.
Okay. Shannon, you are doing your best to create a social scene in Sarasota for millennials. How successful is it, and what are the obstacles to doing more?
Well, recently, so the Harvey Milk Festival, we just held our 7th annual Harvey Milk Festival back in mid-May. And we just recently added the Fabulous Independent Film Festival, which is happening this weekend. So I'm trying to create a lot of events and expanding programming, and definitely feel the support from our community. And actually the city has been very supportive of the festival being downtown up to as of recent.
What do you mean by that?
Recently, over the past few years, particularly this last year, with the change of commissioners, it seems that one particularly is focused on not having events, and that would be Susan Chapman. So as far as millennials having a voice...
Well, what do you mean by that? I mean...
Okay, so basically they just recently have Thunder by the Bay is now Thunder by the Ranch. And also the Chalk Festival is now in Venice. So they're not wanting to have large events that have large draws to still continue to be in downtown.
So are you saying that Sarasota City Commissioners are being influenced by maybe older residents around here who don't want that kind of scene downtown?
Particularly the condo owners, yeah, particularly, yeah. And this is something that is, it's not something new. I mean, I'm a musician for the past 15 years in this town. And it's something that we've fought with the noise ordinance. I mean, there's always restrictions on having a nightlife and having it be accessible to have a downtown, that it can keep growing.
Well, it brings up an interesting question because, as Kate reported in her story, what's really cool for millennials in our area is that you could have Fortune 500 CEOs who are all too willing to provide their experience to young people starting businesses around here. And boy, that is just such an advantage to young people. But in some ways, is the community, I mean, they love what they love down here, and they don't want to hear the loud music at night or the people of a certain age walking down the street. Is that what we're talking about here?
I think that's only part of it, and not even that big a part of it, but it just seems like they've got a tight lock on some of the things that take place, including city politics. Just the fact that the city election is in March, and not too many people know about it. It just goes under the radar.
We've only talked about that a couple of times.
Yeah, and it just seems like every time they get a chance to overstep their reach as a city council, they do. They tried to regulate Uber out of the city snapped them back, and that was due to a lot of millennials coming together and saying, hey, we're not going to have that. This is a really cool tool. We need to have it in Sarasota. Issues like Harvey Vangroff's affordable housing development that they tried to shut down until Harvey literally walked out of city council. Places like the Cascanale, who had to go through the gauntlet to try to get approval to open up a nice establishment downtown, right? This is not a grungy bar. This is not another dive spot, live club, et cetera. This was like a high class establishment that was catering towards a younger demographic. And so you asked before the break, where are the young people trying to build these businesses? And they're there. The problem is that the city has taken a very strong hand on regulation against things like that, that might open up some of those venues that would allow Sarasota to become more millennial friendly.
I think we're talking about something that's not generally known to the public that is watching this tonight, that these are the impediments and the obstacles that really, if you're talking about attracting new businesses and new people to our area, you know, I would imagine that the community wants to attract people, not push them away. And if you're talking about, you know, problems with the city council, or the city commission, I would imagine that the answer would be then change it.
Yeah.
Come out and vote.
And that's the biggest thing.
It doesn't matter if it's in March or in November.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing, is that our demographic and millennials as a whole, whether it be here in Sarasota or nationwide, are not voting. They're not engaged in politics. Yeah, they love the national election that comes in November, but when it comes to any city elections, when it comes to county commission, they have no idea and they don't go out and vote.
I would hate to say this, but that's on you.
Yeah, that's on us. That's absolutely on us. That's on all three of us, anybody who lives in the city. I mean, it is our responsibility. We showed out at like a less than 6% in this last city election. If we came out at 12, 15, 13, 14%, we could do whatever we wanted in this town. This town is absolutely up for grabs, and this idea that it's controlled by a small group of people that, you know, retired here at one point and want to maintain this death grip on what it's supposed to be is ridiculous.
So you're all saying that that is the issue more than the fact that this is known as an older, whiter, conservative community, and that's why young people are not moving to the area?
Yeah, particularly it's people speaking out and using their voice, and voting is the easiest solution to all of this. Yeah. But I've created so many events in this town, Ringling Underground, super focused on millennials. You know, students get in for free. It's something the Ringling Museum started in order to bring people, younger people, into the museum. You know, we have several events that take place in our town, and a lot of people aren't familiar with that they're even happening because they're so disconnected, and especially college students don't even leave the campuses a lot of times.
Well, within our area or even in the state, are there communities in the Tampa Bay area and around Florida that are doing it better?
St. Pete.
Manatee County?
Manatee County.
Manatee is bringing it right now.
Well, let's talk about that first. Manatee, what's going on in Manatee?
They just did a revision on the noise ordinance up there, and they have a music scene up there, and they by far will be the next Austin before Sarasota could possibly be.
St. Pete.
Well, we can't step away from what's going on in our sister city, right, just north of the border here, because the city is working with the county, which is working with the Manatee Millennial Movement, which is working with the Manatee Young Professionals, which is working with Realize Bradenton, and so it's a larger collaboration, whereas in Sarasota you have these segmentations of these power structures that seem to only want to own their own thing, right, and so there's less collaboration going on, and it would be really interesting for some of the leaders in this town to look up to Bradenton, you know, and see what they're doing up there to try to bring some of that down here.
Tony, as a business owner, have you and others taken or had an opportunity to talk to the city commission or the county commission and saying, hey, listen, we want to make Sarasota more inviting for millennials and the next generation? Have you tried to do that? If so, what kind of response have you gotten?
No, I haven't, and that's a fault on my end. I do look to get more involved with the city, the politics, you know, and what's going on.
There is I've seen it because we've showed up to support some of the recent issues. I mentioned a few of those issues at City Hall, and when the pressure is applied, they are listening. They want to hear. The problem is that we don't consistently show up, right? And so we only show up when there's this big uprising of something that happens, and typically that's too late. Right, so we're not involved in the ongoing nature and that ongoing conversation. We're not talking with the commissioners on a one-on-one basis, and so since we don't have that format, we don't really have our voices.
So now we need to, now we know what we need to do.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll have final thoughts as well as comments from our viewers.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community.
At SWC Properties, we pride ourselves in providing to you the very best in customer satisfaction, and the secret's getting out. Maybe that's why so many people have chosen to list their homes with our friendly and qualified agents. After all, it only makes sense to list with a growing agency that markets in so many places. To list your home with SWC, give us a call at our Bradenton office and ask for Eric Schrock.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Hurricane season is here. Are you prepared? ABC7 has the information you need. Access our special Surviving a Hurricane now. Learn how to prepare a readiness plan and survival kit. Know your evacuation route. Be prepared, Suncoast, when severe weather threatens. Access our special on our ABC7 app and all our live streaming platforms.
Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku.
Welcome back. So how do we keep millennials from leaving our Suncoast? That's what we're discussing with our roundtable, and they join us now for final thoughts. So what do you want people who are watching this tonight to get out of this? You know, assuming that it's not just millennials watching this, but, you know, retirees who have come down here who really do think of Sarasota as their paradise.
It's not a zero-sum game. There's room for all. It's not this idea of old versus young. It's about finding interesting ways to build that community where we can both feel at home and feel like it's ours. To the young people who are watching this, just know that there's a lot of us out here. There are people that are feeling and understanding your pain. And it's all about us coming together, get in front of the city, get in front of the county commission, get involved with local groups, the young professionals, the Chamber of Commerce, etc. Find a way to plug in to your local community, and let's do what we need to do, which is amplify that voice.
And Tony, what's fascinating here is, I mean, you're a business owner here in town, but what you're getting out of this is a sense that you've got to do something yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I can be kind of like representative of the millennials that aren't doing anything, you know. And I actually learned something today, and I'm actually going to do something to solve this problem that I have with my business. So, yeah, it's getting involved.
You know, maybe you need to get more involved, but that, you know, starting your own business is something, especially at something in your age. Shannon, you talked about a lot of the obstacles, but still you've done a terrific job in terms of creating some really great events and things that people could go to and entertain themselves.
Thank you. And I'm actually working on trying to resolve and kind of create more of a music venue here in Sarasota, and trying to start a triplex, which would be theater, film, and music, so I can bring like traveling theater companies through and do a lot more. So also the Harvey Milk Festival is always looking for other people to get involved. Like I said, we're expanding programming, and that means more events and things for the community to gather and be a part of. So.
And I'm sure you're hoping that certain members of the City Commission were watching tonight.
Yes.
We'll send it to them on Facebook or something.
Okay.
And I'll be calling you.
Tag them on Twitter.
I'll be
y'all.
calling you.
Well, thank you all very much. But before we go, we want to share with our viewers some of what people are saying about last night's show. Red tide has returned to the Suncoast with a vengeance. The algae is killing thousands of fish and causing respiratory problems for beachgoers. And we asked you how you have been impacted by red tide. And here's what our viewers are saying. Bill Sullivan writes, I have never seen that many dead fish as I did on Venice Beach yesterday. Fishing will take a long time to come back. Sad. Jenny Duffy writes, Longboat Key government's response to the red tide problem is spot on. Sarasota residents aren't so lucky. We spent several hours last Friday trying to reach someone at the city who could address the red tide here. And Ron Greenberg writes, there is no cure or way to stop it. It is a bloom. There is no science that ties it to runoff. We have had major fish kills before. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just join our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. I want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Tony Marchuk is CEO of 22 Marketing House. Raymar Tirado is the co-founder of the Sarasota Underground, and Shannon Fortner is the president of the Harvey Milk Festival. She also organizes Ringling Underground. So stay tuned for our last check on weather, plus a look at what is making headlines at this hour.
At ABC7, it's all about being here for you. ABC7 News at 7 with award-winning investigative journalist Alan Cohn. In-depth reporting and debate on important issues and stories in our community with a featured topic of the day and a live roundtable discussion with community leaders and newsmakers. Plus a quick recap of the day's top stories and weather. ABC7 News at 7, weeknights. Now more than ever, we're here for you, Suncoast.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
We'll have a look at your primetime headlines in just a moment, but right now let's get a check on our weather from ABC 7 Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. I tell you, we've had some showers and storms moving through. Some of them have been heavy in times, as producing some over an inch of rainfall. And Anna Maria webcam showing you those showers moving through even at this hour. Some of the rain fairly heavy and no severe weather, but some lightning strikes out there causing concern for folks out and about. You can see from the Titan radar review over the past several hours, the showers continue to develop in the Gulf and push onshore. And as I mentioned, the activity fairly heavy at times. We have seen the strongest cells by far moving through Manatee County. There's more developing along, it looks like I-275 into Pinellas County. Tough for driving there. This will eventually spread over to I-75 into Hillsborough County. But you can see that rain occurring now over Anna Maria. More storms generating some lightning strikes in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. All that continue to push to the east. What we have is some actual energy in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and as that divergence takes place, it draws the air up and showers and storms start to develop and move toward the coast. We're starting to see that now in South County too, near Inglewood, and showers developing well offshore. So rain in the forecast, on again and off again through the night. And even tomorrow, the rain chance at 40%. I mentioned over 2 inches in eastern portions of Manatee County, right there near Palmetto, southwest of Parrish, nearly 2 inches of rainfall. Lesser amounts as you push southward. Currently, We have partly cloudy skies at the airport, 77, some rumble of thunder nearby. East winds are at 6, and the temperatures have cooled. Because of the rain around, things are looking a little bit cooler all up and down the coast right now. 78 degrees in Cortez, Braden, a comfortable 75 now. The Gulf temperature 88 degrees and 80 in Northport, Arcadia at 81. Lows tonight will be into the mid to upper 70s. We're already at some of the low temperatures actually start to warm back up once the rain moves through in Bradenton, and 78 in Longboat Key, 79 in Anna Maria. What we have is this westerly component, and with the water temperature at 88, you can expect temperatures to be unseasonably warm near the coastline, a little bit cooler well inland. Well, with this trough of low pressure still kind of right across north central Florida, and the dividing line between the warm, moist air and the cooler and drier air to our north, we're going to stay in the mix of showers and storms as little pieces of energy rotate around that trough. Now, this is getting better organized. We've had some satellite passes recently, and we're starting to actually see an eye develop with this. It may be going through rapid intensification as it makes its way to the west. I suspect the winds will be up even higher at the 11 o'clock advisory. The 8 o'clock advisory just coming down, and in fact, that's the next one that we'll be waiting for. 75-mile-an-hour winds. There's the forecast path and track. The cone of uncertainty really spreads out. The error rate can be up to 240 miles away from where they have it right now. So they are suggesting, when I say they, the National Hurricane Center, which monitors these storms and puts out this cone, they are suggesting that the confidence in where this is going to be in day 4 and 5 is low right now. So it could be anywhere. There's a lot of forecast models that still suggest that it could be further off to the west or even further off to the east in time. And one thing we do know is they're all going to go off to the west, and then where it makes the bend will determine how much Florida will have an impact on the storm. Water temperature is extremely warm, and the forecast models are suggesting also that this will become a major hurricane in time. Southwest winds 5 to 10 knots for boaters. Seas will be 1 to 2 feet with a light chop out there. And as far as the forecast goes for the next 7 days, we're calling for a good chance for showers and storms. And it looks like we will see temperatures into the upper 80s and 40% chances for rain. Well, much more coming up after this.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better reader.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
On your TV, on your computer, on your camera, on your smartphone, on your Apple Watch. And now you can get ABC7, your Suncoast News on Fire TV. Just go to mysuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab for a list of fast and free downloads that deliver ABC7, your Suncoast News on the go.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
The moment we've all been waiting for is here. I'm Stephanie Roberts. On Suncoast View, we reveal the results of our guide dog naming contest. Southeastern Guide Dogs is here to show us our puppy's pick, plus give last-minute advice before we bring them home. We'll preview Eat Like a Local Restaurant Week, plus Florida Studio Theater's new season, and Philippi Creek Oyster Bar is in the kitchen.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View. Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
Call right now to get your free Senior Care Compass ebook. Find out about the 5 best-kept secrets on financing senior care and assisted living.
Call now, 800-290-0352. 800-290-0352.
A major crash in New Jersey leaves hundreds of injured and one person dead. Now investigators are working to discover just what happened. Around 8:45 this morning, a commuter train slammed right into a station in Hoboken, killing one person standing on the platform. The National Transportation Safety Board says it will look at similarities between this crash and one that occurred at the same station in 2011. Tonight, some witnesses and survivors are sharing their stories.
I was confused, and by the time that you register that you're not slowing down and approaching the station, you had already hit.
30 seconds after it happened, I looked to the right. I just saw the train in the building. I'm like, whoa, that train had to come in about 30 miles an hour, maybe a little more.
Over 100 patients were taken to area hospitals. Officials say none of the injuries were life-threatening. Better late than never, Congress. After months of contentious wrangling and debate, Congress has finally approved funding to fight the Zika virus. President Obama signed a short-term funding bill today, keeping the government from shutting down. It includes $1.1 billion to address the Zika virus. The bill also includes $500 million to help Louisiana flood victims. Congress will have to reach another agreement on funding the federal government when it reconvenes after the November election. Vice President Joe Biden is coming to Sarasota to stump for Hillary Clinton. Biden is scheduled to make a stop in Sarasota on Monday. The VP is expected to lay out what's at stake and highlight Clinton's economic plan, as well as urging people to vote. The details of Biden's campaign stop in Sarasota have not yet been released. When Floridians go to vote for president in November, they will also have the choice over whether or not to legalize medical marijuana. Amendment 2 would allow marijuana usage by a wide range of people. 2 years ago, a majority of voters approved a similar measure, but it fell short of the 60% needed to pass. Supporters of Amendment 1 say the legislature is not acting fast enough on the issue.
In our judgment, the legislature didn't go far enough, so that's why they'll see it on their Amendment 2 ballot to amend the Constitution, which frankly is just that much more permanent.
A poll released this week by the Florida Chamber of Commerce shows that more than 70% of voters support legalizing medical marijuana. 25 other states have already legalized it. Florida is one of 3 states voting on the issue this November. And that is all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and have a good night.